Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Can somebody please confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. So, welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today's service has been given to me. So, by blessings and mercy of Srila Prabhupada, all the spiritual masters and all the devotees, we'll try to understand today's verse. Thank you so much for joining this morning. And today's verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, which is titled as Creation, Chapter 17. The name of the chapter is Punishment and Reward of Kali, and the verse number 6. So, once again, we'll recite the verse, we will read the translation and purport, and by the mercy and blessings of all the devotees on the call by the mercy of all the spiritual masters and Srila Prabhupada, we will try to understand this verse. Yastvam Krishne gate duram sahagandiva dhanvana shochyo asi asocyan rahasi praharan vardham arhasi. Anyone would like to recite? You can unmute yourself and recite the words, one or two devotees. Okay. If not, I will recite it once more. Yastvam Krishne gate duram sahagandiva dhanvana sochyo asya sochyan rahasi praharan vadham arhasi. Word to word meaning. Yaha, on account of Tvam, you rogue, Krishna, Lord Krishna, Gate, having gone away, Duram, out of sight, Saha, along with Gandiva, the bow named Gandiva, Dhanvana, the carrier, Arjuna, Shochyaha, culprit, Asi, you are considered, Asocyan, innocent, Rahasi, in a secluded place, Praharan, beating, Vadham, to be killed, Arhasi, deserve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation: You rogue, do you dare beat an innocent cow because Lord Krishna and Arjun, the carrier of the Gandiva bow, are out of sight? Since you are beating the innocent in a secluded place, you are considered a culprit and therefore deserve to be killed. Purport: in a civilization where God is conspicuously banished and there is no devotee warrior like Arjuna, the associates of the age of Kali take advantage of this lawful kingdom and arrange to kill innocent animals like the cow in secluded slaughterhouses. Such murderers of animals stand to be condemned to death by the order of a pious king like Maharaj Parikshit. For a pious king, the culprit who kills an animal in a secluded place is punishable by the death penalty, exactly like a murderer who kills an innocent child in a secluded place. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmulitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Shcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarorbhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnamebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll again read the translation. So we are on Canto 1, Chapter 17, verse number 6. You rogue, do you dare beat an innocent cow because Lord Krishna and Arjun, the carrier of the Gandiva bow, are out of sight? Since you are beating the innocent in a secluded place, you are considered a culprit and therefore deserve to be killed. So we'll just see the context of what's going on here. Just a little recap. Mother Earth, in the personified form of cow, and the personality of religion, in the personified form of bull, they are conversing. They are talking to each other. And the saintly king, Maharaj Parikshit, has reached to that site where this conversation is going on, which is at the shore of Saraswati River. So this Saraswati River is actually a very divine river, which has disappeared in the Kali Yuga. It was supposed to be a great nourishment for the Vedic civilization. And Parikshit Maharaj, as we all know, is a Raj Rishi, not an ordinary king. Raj Rishi means who has all these qualities of devotees, of Vaishnav. He's Vaishnav as well as Vaishnav Kshatriya, Raj Rishi. So Parikshit Maharaj sees that a Shudra, a person who's looking like a Shudra, very dark complexion, is dressed like a king, which is in Kali Yuga we see all these fake people, right? Similarly, he was dressed like a king, but Parikshit Maharaj, as an advanced, very intelligent person, he could understand he's a Shudra. And what Maharaj sees is that he's beating both cow and bull so much that they couldn't even stand on their legs. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur also, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also warns us of these duplicitous people who pretend to be something else, like king in this case, but they are something else in reality. There is a very nice bhajan by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur where he says, beware of Kali Chelas, beware of the pseudo devotees, the fake devotees in Kali Yuga. He says, Ete to ek kaler chela, matha neda kapani para, tilak nake galaye mala. Disciple of Kali Yuga. He is referring to the disciple of Kali Yuga. He's saying he keeps his head shaved, wears a loin cloth, tilak on his nose, and tulsi beads around his neck. So he may look perfectly like a Vaishnava, a devotee, but he's a Kali Chela. So we have to beware of such artificial fake people. So as a true Kshatriya, who is a true Kshatriya? He's the protector of his kingdom, of his subjects. Whoever is dependent on him, he's a protector. Maharaj Parikshit stopped. Whom he stopped? He stopped this Shudra who was in the dress of king and who is Kali Yuga. He stops him and questions him and in fact challenges him. So in the last verse and this verse, we can see how Maharaj Parikshit is questioning this person, right? Now, why is Maharaj Parikshit doing it? Because it's the duty of a Kshatriya, of an administrator, of a leader to protect his dependents, his subjects. If something wrong is going on, he is responsible to make sure that he resolves the issues. He stops the atrocities. He protects his kingdom. Not just a human. In the Vedic scriptures, it is mentioned that even animals, birds, trees, anything that is born in the land of a kingdom is the responsibility of that particular king. King is supposed to protect all of them. So let's quickly read the last verse so that we can put the things in the proper context. So first question Maharaj Parikshit was asking, who are you? You appear to be strong and yet you dare kill within my protection those who are helpless. By your dress, you pose yourself to be a godly man, king, but by your deeds, you are opposing the principles of the twice born Kshatriyas. One important thing about this translation and what is mentioned here is God, the king was supposed to be a godly man in the Vedic culture. Nowadays, anyone can become king. He might be atheist. He might have in fact, he might even deny the existence of God. They're still considered to be fit to become kings or presidents or prime ministers of the countries or leaders of the countries. But in the Vedic culture, it was a requirement. The kings were supposed to be godly men. If they were not, somehow or the other, by arrangement of Krishna, they used to be removed. The next question in this verse, we see again Maharaj Parikshit is asking, challenging him, and he is condemning his act. So, Tvam Krishna Gate Duram, meaning Maharaj Parikshit is kind of commenting that, do you think because Lord Krishna and his favorite and warrior Arjuna are no more on this earth, then you can do this atrocities? Is that your intention, or is that what you think you can do? Is kind of commenting on that. So we know when Lord Krishna appears, he has various reasons for his incarnations, his appearances, internal and external. One of the main external reason is to establish the Yuga Dharma. So in this case, 5,000 years back, when Krishna completed his mission of establishing the Yuga Dharma, he has gone back. Even Pandavas, all the 5 Pandavas, after Krishna disappeared, they also left. We already read and studied that history. And so now in this age of Kali Yuga, when Kali Yuga is approaching faster, so before that, in Bhagavad Gita also we see, in the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, Vidur Maharaj says, Yatra Yogeshwar Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdara, Tatra Shrihi Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Very nice verse. That wherever there is Lord Krishna, the master of all the mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer. Here, supreme archer also means the perfect devotee, the perfect friend of Krishna. There will be certainly opulence. Where is Krishna and Arjuna, a devotee like Arjuna, wherever there is Lord, Supreme Lord, and his perfect devotees, there will be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is declared. So that's why Parikshit Maharaj is telling him, do you think because both of them have left, you can do whatever you want? So here Kali was caught red-handed, if you see. Why? Because he was doing these atrocities on the cow and bull in a very secluded place. So, but Maharaj Parikshit, he caught him red-handed. So when we see here how Kali is, beating them in the secluded place, this is exactly what is happening even today. The people, in this, they are building big butcher houses and even using technology, right? Big butcher houses, big animal farms, and they are devising or coming up with new innovations to kill animals. on the using the technology, right? And just not killing them, brutally killing them, just to satisfy the sense words, the taste words. But in the Vedic culture, the killing of animals, especially the killing of cow, is a very, very heinous act. And Maharaj Parikshit is giving his judgment right away on the spot there. As a king, he is taking that authority, taking that responsibility. And he is saying a very heavy statement that you are considered a culprit and therefore deserve to be killed. It's not like in today's age, somebody does a crime and then there are so much layers of judicial system that one has to go through to get the justice, right? No, if something is going on wrong, and then even in today's age, we see, in spite of going through the judicial system, there is no guarantee somebody will get the justice. It's all about money. Who can buy? Who can spend more money? And more often, innocent people, they don't get the justice. Now, and if they want to get justice, they have to bribe. Many countries have this problem. On the other hand, the miscreants, the criminals, they even enjoy in the prison, even if they get the prison. Special cells are built for them with all the comfort. And sometimes these thieves, these criminals, they would prefer to go to the prison houses because they get better safety there. That is the condition of today's judicial system. But here, Maharaj Parikshit is declaring that you deserve to be killed. He's taking that judgment right away, seeing the atrocities. Now, when we see, this is very, very interesting how it is mentioned about Arjuna in the purport. If we see, no devotee warrior like Arjuna, because devotee warrior. Now, when we talk about devotee warrior, it means one who is very strong spiritually and very advanced in spiritual qualities, in Krishna consciousness. A devotee is a par-dukhi. That's the quality we see, even in Maharaj Parikshit here. Vaishnav janto tene kaye peer parai janena. Who is a Vaishnav? Who is very compassionate and who becomes very unhappy, very sad, seeing the distress of others. So that's how the administrator should be, a leader should be. And we see Arjuna is also referred to as the carrier of Gandiva bow. Specifically mentioned here, Gandiva bow, because it glorifies the power of devotee of Arjuna, devotee of Krishna as Arjuna. It is said that this Gandiva was gifted to Arjuna by demigod Agni Dev. And Arjuna's power, strength became multifaceted after receiving this Gandiva. But no matter how much power, how much strength somebody has, if the blessings, if the God's consciousness is not there, it cannot do anything. Or if the sanction of God is not there, because Arjun carried the same Gandiva after Krishna left, and then he was bringing back the queens of Dwarka. He couldn't even lift that Gandiva because after departure of Krishna, he couldn't even lift that Gandiva. So our Acharya says, when the service is over, empowerment is taken away. Sometimes we see that. So what does it mean? The empowerment in our services, they come by blessings and mercy of Vaishnavas, devotees, our spiritual master, by the mercy and blessings of Shri Krishna. So if we please them with our services, more and more empowerment will come to us. Similar, I was listening to a very nice talk by one of the senior Russian devotee who was sharing his experiences. I'm sure most of us know how the movement, the Hare Krishna movement in Russia started. So much challenge, so many challenges, because of the government, pressing down them, and not kind of almost like it was a big, it's just not mental or physical, even emotional torture. They used to capture the devotees and put them in the prison. There are, it's filled with stories and stories, and how still, in spite of all these tortures, the devotees in Russia, they kept on maintaining and revived the whole Hare Krishna movement. That is a subject in itself, a study in itself. But the point is that I was listening to this wonderful devotee who went through all those experiences of physical, mental, and emotional torture in the prison of Russia. And he was saying, today when I think, I cannot even tolerate even 25% or 10% of those atrocities. So it amazes me, how could I was able to tolerate all those experiences? So he says the only justification, only clarification, or only interpretation is that we were empowered by Srila Prabhupada that time, because that was the necessity of that particular hour. So the point is that so we should never feel proud whenever we are doing any service and ever are able to do it very nicely, or somebody is complimenting me. We should pass it on to our Gurujans, to Srila Prabhupada, to Krishna, because all the empowerment for every little and big service is coming from them. And don't be surprised, as soon as the service is over, that empowerment may be gone. Nothing is that we own. Okay. So when we see the subject matter in these verses about the killing of cows, killing of animals, we all know this Kali Yuga is an age of duplicity, quarrel and duplicity. People on the one hand, they make organizations, build big organizations, do fund generations to protect dogs and cats, and the same people will justify or even kill cows to, for their sense gratification. Now, it's a very, very heinous act. People don't even understand because they have no knowledge of the scriptures. Even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when he was conversing with Chand Kaji, he mentioned that one who kills cows has to suffer in a very, very special hellish planet. There is a very special hellish planet for that sinful activity, where the person who kills the cow or part of that process, he has to spend time there and bear all the punishment, which is equal to 1,000 times the number of hairs on the body of cows. We can understand how heinous, how big crime, or how big sinful activity is. So he says, cow killers are condemned to rot in hellish life for as many as 1,000 of years as there are hairs on the body of the cow. Therefore, if we see like we see Maharaj Parikshit is saying that because of this heinous act that you are beating and torturing the cow and bull, you should be killed. Actually, if we see, killing a criminal or murderer is an act of compassion, because punishment is required to purify the sin, right? Not that we kill and then get killed by somebody else and get that cycle. But the point is that capital punishment of death is an act of compassion itself, and it is for the benefit of the criminal, if you see in the holistic way, right? So, and the life of Vaishnavas is to do the highest welfare for others. Now, now, even if we talk about these kind of punishment for the murderers and criminals, where there are a lot of societies, what they are doing, they are spinning up the movement to stop these death punishment or capital punishment. So it has both pros and cons, because at the same time we know our these judiciary system is not efficient. So real justice or the true justice is difficult. But at the same time, the logical argument that they gave is there is no data or statistics that shows that if death punishments are given, then that will make people afraid of committing these kind of crimes. I mean, it's really nonsense kind of argument. But very clearly in Manu Samhita and scriptures, it is mentioned, it is justified, this kind of punishment. It all depends on what level of, what degree of punishment or crime activity is that. And the problem in the age of Kali Yuga is that political leaders are acting independently. This is a very important point. There is no spiritual guidance. If we see our Vedic history, or just 5,000 years back, when Mahabharata happened, Maharaj Yudhishthir, he was sad after the war of Kurukshetra. He was feeling, responsible for so many killings in the war. So Krishna takes him to Bhishma Dev to pacify him, to get some spiritual guidance. Then Bhishma Dev tells and instructs Yudhishthira Maharaj that Jivitum Narhata Klishtam Vipra Dharma Achyut Ashraha. Vipra Dharma Achyut Ashraya. Very, very important 3 words. Vipra Dharma Achyut Ashraya. That Bhishma Dev says to Yudhishthira Maharaj, you were protected by the Brahmins. Vipra meaning Brahmins. By Achyuta means Lord Krishna, God, and Dharma, religion. Because you took the shelter of 3 things: Brahmanas, meaning Vaishnavas, Lord himself, and the religion, scriptures. Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. So as long as a person is fully in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, and guided by the bona fide Brahmanas, meaning guided by the bona fide devotees and Vaishnavas, and he is strictly following the religious principles, one has no cause, no reason to feel distress for his act, however trying the circumstances of life may be. If we are acting under the guidance of Guru, Shastra, Sadhu, and Krishna, all our act will be auspicious. There is no reason for any despondent or any sadness. Even during exile, when Pandavas were in the exile for many years, they were always under the guidance of Vaishnava. It is not mentioned clearly. A lot of people might not know it, but constantly Pandavas were under the guidance of a Rishi, Dhaumya Rishi. They were seeking his guidance even in the exile. So if we see the Vedic culture, which is totally was the opposite of what's going on today in this age of Kali Yuga, the great administrators, kings, and emperors were always under the guidance of learned Brahmanas. And even when Maharaj Yudhishthir left this planet after the disappearance of Krishna, he made sure that when he enthroned Maharaj Parikshit, he entrusted him under the shelter of Kripacharya. And then he left satisfied. It's not like he just said, okay, now you're the king and just, do whatever. No, he put him under the guidance of Kripacharya. So what does it mean for us as aspiring devotees? First of all, so before that, even in our scriptures, it is mentioned when we talk about these sinful activities, for us as a devotee, there is an instruction in the scripture that Vaishnava Aparadh, offending devotees, is even a greater than the sin of killing a cow, It is also greater than the sin of killing a Brahmana or a woman or a child. So envying a Vaishnava and envying a devotee or offending a devotee is a great, great sin, ultimate sin. A story also comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita about a Brahmin with the name Gopal Chapala. Very nice Brahmin, very nice person, but he was envious. He became envious of Srivas Pandita. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Brinda. One of the 5 personalities in the Panch Tattva. He became envious of such a great personality, such a great divine personality, associate of Lord. And immediately what happened, as he developed envy and offenses towards Srivas Pandit, he got infected with leprosy. And his body parts started, melting away. So once he was suffering and he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and seeing him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very, very angry that you are a sinful wretch. That was the word of Mahaprabhu. Why do you blaspheme the Vaishnavas? All the living entities in material existence are my friends. However, I am completely inimical to one who is envious of a Vaishnava. Meaning, even I am, no matter how compassionate I want to be, I am not pleased with a person who is envious of a Vaishnava. So you will suffer here for 10,000 lifetimes. So Mahaprabhu didn't give him his mercy. Although later, by serving devotees, and when he fell at the lotus feet of Srivas Pandit, and he begged for mercy, by the mercy of devotees, he was forgiven by the Lord. But Lord himself never forgives our offenses against Vaishnavas. So we have to serve Vaishnavas properly. Now, even Srila Vishwanath Thakur says that the pure devotee, if our offenses are towards a pure devotee will not even recognize those offenses. He is so pure, he is so merciful. But that offenses has been registered in our account. So the only way to get free from an offense committed to a pure devotee is to fall in the dust of his lotus feet and beg for forgiveness. Even if we approach Lord directly, he will not forgive us. So when we talk about these sinful activities, as a practicing devotee, of course, because we are not involved in these sinful activities, but what does it mean for us? We should understand that what other sinful activities can harm us or our devotion. But it doesn't mean that we tolerate the inappropriate actions or behaviors on the name of devotee. Remember, Kali Chela. There might be people in the vesh of, in the attire of Vaishnava, right? So we have to be very intelligent, always under guidance. We should not become on the name of, on the name of being a devotee or on the name of devotion. If somebody is impacting the mission or affecting the mission and inappropriately affecting the Vaishnavas or, creating problems, then proper action should be taken. And there is a way. We can always be respectful and through right channel, as per our adhikar. That is the important thing. As per our authority, we should act, but it should be addressed. Otherwise, we are not fulfilling our duty. Now, one important thing I wanted to take quickly was, we have about 20 minutes. Very nice talk I heard from His Holiness Swan Sevak Keshav Swami. When he mentions about the word devotee warrior, doesn't it remind us of something very special, very that has given to us by His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, spiritual warrior series, right? Now, when this word comes, spiritual warrior or warrior devotee, it creates a sense of urgency, a sense of adventure in the path of devotion. If you think about it, devotee, warrior, devotion, warrior, it's not easy to understand firsthand. But by the mercy of His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, actually he is a personification of this particular quality, devotee warrior. I'm still hoping that someday I can read that series by Maharaj. Unfortunately, I never had the association, the physical association, or when he was on the planet. But he was the living, from whatever glories I hear from devotees or read, or there are so many videos available. He was the personification of this spiritual worship, warriorship. So if we try to understand it a little better, otherwise sometimes we become very emotional, right? Every varna in the Varnashram system, every varna is fighting for something. For example, we have 4 varnas in the Varnashram system: Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, and Brahmin. Now, if we see, Shudra is fighting with the tendency to be lazy or lethargic, right, in his varna. Vaishya is fighting with insufficiency, because his responsibility, his duty is to produce enough for the society, for the community, bring funds so that the whole Varnashram system can run properly. Kshatriyas, he's fighting with injustice, right? So everybody is in there actually fighting, or in this mood of warriorship. Even Brahmanas, what are Brahmanas fighting with? Ignorance, darkness, miscommunication of the truth. So Vaishnavas are also warriors. They're always fighting. Brahmana's job is just not to do yagna or just do study. They have to correct the society. They have to educate society. And when coming to the point of where we have to educate the society about spiritual things, not that easy, right? Preaching is so difficult. So if we see at every varna, this battlefield is going on, this warriorship is going on. And in this talk, His Holiness Swam Bhagwan Keshav Swami is bringing a very, very nice point, that this battlefield is happening at 3 levels. Everyone is going through this battlefield and this warriorship, but it is happening at 3 levels. First, at the level of soul. Second, at the level of Sangha, association. And third, at the level of society. See, if you think about soul, there is a constant, as a self, there is a constant fight as practicing devotees, where we are always fighting. I hope everyone will agree with me, or at least I know I go through this. We are having this constant inner fight about upadhi, recognition, dealing with our anarthas, our fault, our apradhas, our sins, mechanical actions in our devotional practices. We are without any absorption, right? These are all the things we are constantly fighting with. So we thought initially, when we come in Krishna consciousness, all our problems will be solved. All our anarthas will disappear. But is that so easy? It takes some effort, some time. In fact, an honest person will realize that more anarthas come into surface after a few years that we have to fight with or deal with. So we have to be conscious of uprooting them. As a spiritual warrior, like Arjuna, like His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj, we should be conscious of these anarthas or these fightings going on. So that was with soul. Second thing was at the level of Sangha. How to understand that? So we have a wonderful society of ISKCON, wonderful association of devotees, communities. But there is always an opportunity and an option to either upgrade or degrade ourselves, no matter what. Because when we talk about the Sangha, the association, there is a power. It comes with power, popularity, followership. So it can be transformed into a bad Sangha also. because our purity might get compromised if we get trapped into recognition, making following in that particular association, or are worrying about our prestige and popularity. So this is definitely applicable to ISKCON communities. Although we are a spiritual community, see, Srila Prabhupada bring spiritual world to our temples or communities, to this material world. But now it is upon us to not reverse that phenomena. I hope I'm able to articulate this particular point, because there is always a risk. No doubt we need support and cooperation from members of the society, right? But when members comes together, they also come with their anarthas, their faults, their skills also, their good things also, but there are both the things. So the point is that we have a great responsibility as the members of ISKCON to make sure that we operate, we serve in a very, very nice mood, and keep on trying to address our faults, our anarthas. That's why the guidance all the time is very, very important. Sticking to Srila Prabhupada's instructions is very important. Understanding those instructions, these quotes of Srila Prabhupada, these teachings of Srila Prabhupada in the right context, in the right mood is very important. Because if we just try to understand with our mind, our brain, at least for me, they might be confusing. Third level, the soul, at the level of soul, we are fighting as a spiritual warrior. At the level of Sangha, association, we have to be very conscious. These fightings are going on internally. Number 3 is at the level of society. So when we say society, meaning outside world, not the spiritual society with how are we dealing? How a devotee or aspiring devotee is fighting, or at a war with this external society? Because this external society, the world is filled with people who are atheists, who are just they want to depend on technology, and they think everything can be handled by their scientific inventions. They're trying to take God out of everything. But as a spiritual warrior, our responsibility is to intervene and establish the highest holistic view, to establish how, if we become independent of God, it is a disaster for the society. How Srila Prabhupada and his disciples established the presence of God in everything, and they proved it through their writings, their practices, their purity, right? And even established the whole process of Krishna consciousness as a scientific process. So that is because it is done by Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, doesn't mean that now we don't need to do it. That is also our responsibility. As a Vaishnava, Vaishnava is just not doing our own spiritual advancement. That he is not a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is a par dukha dukhi, our Acharya says. He wants the benefit of the whole society. So this ISKCON is a wonderful, wonderful, actually, it is said, I cannot quote the name, but so many spiritual masters say it's a factory of pure devotees. Nice way to put it. Factory of pure devotees. Left and right, we are seeing even today, if we are conscious of our society, our surroundings, we see left and right, these advanced devotees. They are departing this world in a glorious way. And there have been very clear indication they are going back to Godhead. But it is not an easy ride. They have worked for it. They have served for it. We can have the greatest of the Guru, greatest of the spiritual master. But if we are not, so there is something called a Sadguru, but if we are not Sad Shishya, I'm telling myself, then it will not work out. For example, our Acharyas gave, I forgot which text was that, beautiful example. How do we burn or ignite fire in the forest? Using wood, we can ignite the fire, taking 2 sticks. But the requirement is both the sticks should be dry. If one stick is wet, it will not work out. Meaning, both the sticks should be strong, meaning the spiritual master, both spiritual master and disciple, they should be strong, they should be very strong spiritually. Then it will work out. So of course, if a disciple, we are trying, but it all depends on our sincerity, our effort, our commitment, that we can uplift ourselves. We cannot just think, take an initiation or aspiring for initiation and everything will work out. All our sins will be taken away. That's not how it works. There is a process. Sins will be taken away, of course, after our initiation. But then what? Then what we will do, right? So with that, there are a few minutes left. So I will try to just quickly cover a few more points. That, okay, so if in reference to this particular verse, see, when we talk about meat eating or vegetarianism, just telling people do not eat meat will not work. We need to educate people. We have to educate people. That's where the concept of preaching comes, right? So what many times we hear from our senior devotees, very easy ways we can do it. We give them the holy name. We make them participate in Harinam Sankirtan, just like we did in Harrisburg with Jagannath Rath Yatra. And actually, we say, sometimes devotees say, we brought Jagannath out. Actually, he is bringing us out, to take the Harinam. He is bringing the people out. And then we also feed people with prasad. Easiest way to transform the mind subtly so that they can receive this knowledge, this education. So preaching is very important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, how many fruits can I eat? We need to distribute. Meaning, he needs our help. Why he needs our help? Because he wants to glorify us. He wants us to get purified with this process. So he wants us to help in or assist in preaching. Everyone should do their part. We may spend 5, 10, 20, 30 years in ISKCON. Just coming and going will not help. We have to take the responsibility from our seniors also, from our spiritual masters. We have to read and study Srila Prabhupada books. Book distribution, great way to educate people. One of the most glorious service we can participate in any form of shape. If not directly book distribution, at least support them, assist them, help them. And Harinam distribution, both goes together. Sankirtan is must. Like we were discussing few weeks back, we see sudden increase in the interest of people in vegetarianism or vegan. How come? In the last few years, it's the power of Sankirtan that's going on. Devotees going out on the street. It's real. We are not just doing it blindly. It's making impact. Now it may manifest right now in the form of just people, taking up to vegan food or vegetarianism, not really devotion, but that's a step up that will prepare them to come at the mode of goodness. So power of Sankirtan is real. So it reminds me of a story or a pastime when His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he was pulled in for the help in Juhu project. And Maharaj then, when Srila Prabhupada came to Juhu temple once, when it was still building up, funds were needed. And he said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm not able to understand how should I progress in Krishna consciousness, because I am totally all the time I'm just absorbed in thoughts of how should I generate more funds. So Srila Prabhupada said that is the consciousness we need. That we need to get absorbed in Krishna's service. So it is not material. So again, Sankirtan, book distribution, helping in preaching, and prasadam, all comes as a package that is given to us. So with that, I will just pause here. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So thank you for listening, all the devotees. We also have senior devotees. Thank you so much for joining. And if anyone has any questions, any comments, any correction, if I've made any mistake, I apologize. But please feel free to unmute yourself, type on the chat, and we can take up a few questions or comments for a few minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I was taking some notes. Very nice class. You talked about the four varnas and how each of them is involved in some sort of fight. Shudras fighting with laziness, Vaishyas fighting with insufficiency, Brahmanas are fighting ignorance. Then you mentioned Kshatriya fighting. I did not get that one. What is Kshatriya fighting?
Yeah, Kshatriya is fighting with the injustice to protect the society. How can they do it? Making plans for that. Fighting with the with the so-called Kshatriyas who are, destroying the society.
Okay. My second question, again, so I was just, I remember this past time, but you brought it up again, which was very nice, about Shiva's Pandit. So who was that, the name of that person was the offender?
He was Gopal Chapala.
Gopal Chapala.
Yeah.
Okay. Was he the one that, again, I want to make sure my pastimes are straight in my mind. Was he the one that bought some tantric paraphernalia, put it at the doorstep, and tried to broadcast that Sivas was involved in some tantric stuff? Was he the one?
It is possible. I have to just double check, but I think because that's the only devotee I'm aware of who has problem with Shiva's Pandit. So probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know whether it was Shiva's Pandit that got offended like that. I just wanted to be sure. All right. Well, we'll check.
But I will double check. I'm not 100%
sure. Sure.
See, this is the beauty of when we have the blessings of senior devotees. Now I have to go more deeper into this pastime. Thank you, Prabhu.
It could be someone else. But it's in CC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Any corrections, Prabhu? Anything you would like to add?
No, it was a very nice lecture. You touched on a lot of points. You don't have any books on spiritual warrior yet?
No, I have actually. Anusay Mataji gave me a couple of them, and I hope I can read it completely sometime.
Okay.
I heard it's a beautiful series.
All right.
I think Maharaj might have taken that word from here. This word, I think, devotee warrior. Yeah. I mean, I'm speculating. I'm not sure. It's a very
he's used the word warriorship for a long time. He was practically the only one in this country that was using the word warriorship that I know of. Yeah. But we know that it's said that everyone is fighting their own battle of Kurukshetra. That is an expression that everybody's fighting their own. Every devotee is fighting their own battle of Kurukshetra, the challenges of the world. So if we're fighting our own battle, then we must be a warrior then. That's just a simple conclusion from that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Krishna Prabhu, Prabhupada. Thank you for such a nice class. I joined the last 40 minutes or half an hour, something like that. I had to finish the other class, but very nice points. I actually was appreciating and enjoying. I don't know if that's the right word, because we're not supposed to be the enjoyers, right? I was really enjoying the pastimes that you were sharing. So thank you so much for touching on that. And actually, the comment that you made, Factory of Devotees, Prabhupada made that quote. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 11th canto, Prabhupada actually started that, and then it became a common thing for everyone saying that, which is a very, very good point. But and another point that I wanted to share that Parikshit also mentioned was and I'm trying to figure out the phrase that I've heard from Balabhadra Prabhu, that something is declaring war with Maya. I'm trying to remember that line. saying yes to devotional life or something is like declaring
Yes.
war with Maya,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah.
So because as soon as we say yes to the Lord, we have to fight Maya. And when we have to fight Maya, then we have to be spiritual warriors, pretty much. Because every time we're always fighting with Mayas, every single way, you know? So that's why I think, and also interestingly that you mentioned this purport, Prabhu, because in my spiritual master's books, his front page is always Arjuna shooting the arrow.
Now my speculation is becoming more sure.
Exactly. Because in fact, you just brought it up, this one that made me realize, I said, wait, all his, you know, the front cover of his book,
Yes.
it has Arjun, you know, shooting the arrow through that fish thingy that goes up when he had to fight for Draupadi. And I said, oh my God, that must be it then, you know, yeah, maybe, you know, I don't know, but that is what it was. So thank you for this wonderful class. There was one point that you mentioned about asking for forgiveness. That's one thing that I learned from my spiritual masters, that even if we think that we may not have offended, or even if we think that we may have, but we don't know, we should still go ask for forgiveness, just to clear the account, the bank account, as they
Yes.
say.
Very important, Mataji. Very important point for our spiritual life. We cannot ignore this fact. It's very important.
Yeah.
It's not more than just chanting Vancha Kalpa Tarubhya Kripa Sindhu Vicha.
No.
It takes a lot more to ask for forgiveness.
Actually, if I can share something, because again, just coming out of Chandramali Swami's class before I joined this, he made this comment, and we've heard it many times, but when he made it, it was so powerful. He says, and it's quoted in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, he said, chapter 13, later on in the chapter, but Maharaj said that offenses to the devotees is greater than the offenses to the Lord. Chandramani Swami said, and when he said that, I could see all of us busy writing his comment down, because that shows how much the Lord takes offenses to the devotees more seriously. So, which means it goes back to always, you know, asking for forgiveness, and we have to be conscious of how we have to be conscious how we deal with devotees. We have to be conscious of how we speak to them, how we ask, how we, you know, like I think one of it is austerity of speech.
Yes.
We have to be conscious of that. So thank you for bringing that point up, because I think we have to always try to be conscious of our actions and our speech, because that's one of the austerities. So thank you for bringing that up, Prabhu. Yeah, and plus, whenever you and Pritchard figure out the pastime, please share with us the clarification part.
Sure.
Hare Krishna. It was in fact Gopal Chapla. He was the one that put paraphernalia. So it is the pastime she was involving Shiva's Thakur. As you were talking, I went to Chaitanya Charitamrita and texted and searched and find out. So it's in Adi Lila chapter 17, and it starts with text 38.
Thank you.
It starts 30. Wait a minute. 37 to 38. And I could just read the translation because it makes a point. One night while Kirtan was going on inside Shiva's Thakur's house, a Brahmana named Gopal Chapala, the chief of the non-believers, who was very talkative and very rough in his speech, placed all the paraphernalia for worshipping goddess Durga outside Shiva's Thakur's door. So he's the one that did it. And then he went around trying to broadcast to people that Shiva Thakur is a Durga worshiper. But Shiva Thakur saw it. He saw it, and he came out and rather than defend himself, he says, yes. Do you see the paraphernalia there? That must be a worshiper of goddess Bhavani. But the devotees knew that he wasn't, so they immediately knew that somebody had committed that offense. It was a deliberate thing to try to smear Shiva's Pandit's name. So then he called, he asked, who did this? And anyway, what happened, a little fast forwarding, what happened was that Gopal Chapala came down with leprosy, and there was sores all over his body, and he was in great pain. And then that part of the pastime you mentioned later on, that Lord Chaitanya saw him, and he said, "You've offended my devotees." Lord Chaitanya was even more angry with Gopal Chapala. Yeah, that was a part of it. So it was Gopal Chapala that actually tried to smear Shiva's Pandit's name.
Yeah,
And when I read, I was surprised. I just at night when the nocturnal kirtan was going on, when the kirtan was going on, is when he put the paraphernalia there to offend Shiva's Pandit. What a mockery. Some people are bold, huh? Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the details. Yeah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came out very heavily. I went through that pastime very quickly, but actually the words, if you see, Mahaprabhu used very heavy words for him.
Prabhu, can you repeat those words that he used? I'm just, do you mind?
Can I just type it on the chat?
That's fine, because it shows how upset the Lord gets when his devotees are being offended, you know? So I'm just curious to know, I guess I just want to know how really mad the Lord gets. Hare Krishna, really? Whoa, Babri. This is amazing, Prabhu. You on mute. You have to unmute.
Yeah, no, I'm on mute. I'm not saying anything. I'm just posted.
No, okay.
Oh, Prabhuji, okay.
Sure. Lord Chaitanya, Gopal Chapala he came down with leprosy, and he was being bitten by so many, insects, and he was going through great trouble. And when Lord Chaitanya saw him and got angry at him because he had offended, a great devotee like he was offended, now Gopal Chapala tried to plead for mercy, because he was in such an uncomfortable physical situation. But Lord Chaitanya, he appeared greatly angry. And then in that angry mood, he spoke chastising words to him. He said, "Oh, sinful person, envious of pure devotees, I shall not deliver you. Rather, I shall have you bitten by these germs for many millions of years. You made Srivastava appear to have been worshipping Goddess Bhavani. Simply for this offense, you will have to fall down into hellish life for 10 million births." So this is some of the words that very heavy that Lord Chaitanya used against Gopal Chapala. I read actually from that side. I didn't read chapter 17. All right, so that's how that we have to be very careful. If you offend devotees, you'll be in trouble. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for sharing that, dear Krishna Prabhu. I mean, that's really deep. Mahaprabhu gets very angry. It's interesting, right? He has that part, and then he's so sweet.
Yeah, when devotees get offended, like when Mada hit Lord Nityananda with the pot and hit his forehead, and he was bleeding. Lord Chaitanya, that had come to spread Krishna consciousness in a peaceful way, summoned his chakra, and it was about to cut off his head, cut off Mada's head, literally. So yeah, when you offend devotees, it gets really, really, really angry.
Yeah. In the same pastime, I think sometimes people question how come they got the mercy even after offending Nityan Prabhu. I mean, one of them, Mahaprabhu was unhappy with, and one of them Mahaprabhu was okay. So one who hit, Mahaprabhu didn't forgive him personally, but I think it was Jagai who hit. I forgot who hit the pot. It was
Madai hit him.
So when Jagai asked for forgiveness, Mahaprabhu forgave him because he never committed God directly.
Lord Nityananda spoke on behalf of Jagat.
Yeah.
Because Madai hit Lord Nityananda once, and Lord Nityananda was bleeding. He was going to hit him a second time, and Jagai stopped him. So that was the part that Lord Nityananda told Lord Chaitanya when Lord Chaitanya came ready to kill both of them. Then Lord Nityananda said, "Actually, Jagai protected me from Madai."
Yeah.
And that's why Jagai got the mercy at first, and Lord Chaitanya was very hesitant, not hesitant, was unwilling to give the mercy to Madai, because Madai was actually the one that committed the offense. Anyway, it's another story.
Yeah, and the funny part is that that was the only offense they did, Vaishnava they did, because they were so sinful, they never had contact with any Vaishnavas in the previous day.
Yeah, they were not around Vaishnava.
They did a lot of sins, I mean, mountain of sins, but no aprad, Vaishnava aprad.
Vaishnavas avoided them
Yeah.
heavily. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That was deep. We can learn so much from those amazing pastimes. So many lessons, and it's just not stories. There are lessons in there for us to learn. That's amazing. Amazing. Prabhu, you mentioned something just now, dear Krishna Prabhu, that devotees question that. Can you shed some light on that? You were saying just now that devotees question, how did you put it? And I was, that Lord Chaitanya, why did he?
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying what Prabhuji completed, that in spite of the offense made by Madai, how come he was forgiven? So on the request of Nityan Prabhu, when he reminded, that he did the offense, but Jagai didn't do. So at least you can hear his request.
Yeah. Jagai got the mercy, and then Madai got now he wanted the mercy too. So yeah. And then after that, they decided they would be very good citizens and they won't harm anybody. And they started chanting, are you ready for this? 128 rounds of japa every day. 128, 64 twice.
That's 16 hours, approximately.
Well, I don't know. I just thought I was doing 192 rounds a day.
For me, it will take 48 hours.
48 hours a day. Well, that's interesting.
There's only 24 hours in a day.
I know, we're just messing.
I know. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
And then they were cleaning the bathing ghats and so on. They did so much menial service to Jagai Mala. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, is almost 9:15. Is that okay to conclude here?
Prabhu, it's your class. Absolutely. Okay. I'm just enjoying this. That's all.
Thank you so much, everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Kripa Sindhu Vacha. Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you so much for wonderful class.
Thank you,
but anyway,
thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful class, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Pranam. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.